This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. There was an idea, Stark knows this, called the Avengers Initiative. The idea was to bring together a group of remarkable people, see if they could become something more, see if they could work together when we needed them to fight the battles that we never could. Doesn't matter what you did or what you were, if you go out there, you fight, and you fight to kill. Stay in here, you're good. I'll send your brother to come find you, but if you step out that door, you're an Avenger. The price of freedom is high, it always has been, and it's a price I'm willing to pay. And if I'm the only one, then so be it, but I'm willing to bet that I'm not. And welcome to my review of the Lego Avengers Tower. This is a set I've honestly wanted to get for a while, but just wasn't willing to pay full retail price. Through a family friend of the Lego store, I was able to get this for half off. So I'm actually now able to own this set. It's honestly a really, really great build. A lot of fun when I built it, and I think they did a great job with it. It looks really nice, although they're kind of complaining about this doesn't fit really well against the Daily Bugle set. I will show that in a little bit. Towards the end, I'm going to show this as a height comparison next to at least this, Barad-Dûr, and the Daily Bugle. And possibly Orthanc, although you can kind of see it from here. It is a little lower, but you could see the back of Orthanc from here, and probably could have seen it in the intro, but also you will see it later on. But yeah, honestly, it's a really, really cool set. There's a lot of minifigures, so many that I couldn't even fit them all onto my typical display stand. So, starting off, this is, in the back, generally characters that these are just kind of like soldiers are more background characters. I imagine that most of the major characters onto the typical display stand. Only ones here these are mainly ones that are sort of soldiers or duplicates. So, going to look at them, I'll start here. We first have Tony Stark as a shield agent. And this uses the exact same shield agent torso you'll see two more times. He has this briefcase to represent him trying to take the Tesseract. And if you look a little bit into the set, or you're just paying attention in the intro, you would have seen the Tesseract inside the lobby. In fact, if you look right there, you can see where the Tesseract is. But the set is based off of the exterior is based off of the Age of Ultron tower, although it is far more based off of Stark Tower, which is when we get to see it more often. But if you look at the back, there's the shield logo. He also has his Iron Man head for the heads-up display. And then you can also push these goggles down to make it look like it is someone else, since it is disguised for him. And he is the first of the Endgame figures, since some of these are based off of a bunch of movies, but primarily this is actually based off the first Avengers movie. I mean the Avengers, not the first Avenger, because that's always fun to talk about. I'll only show off one Chitauri because there are 4 of them in this set. But it's the same Chitauri minifigure we've been getting for a while. Simple design, and yeah, see, it's really similar. 2 of them have the guns, 2 of them don't, because they're supposed to be the chariot drivers. So yeah, see, it's a cool inclusion. Next we have an Ant-Man micro figure. And would have loved for him to include a Ant-Man in it. I actually didn't own an Ant-Man until just a few days ago when I was at a local flea market and saw him. I think it was for like $5. I was like, definitely need to get him because I need one to go on my Avengers Tower set. So that's one of the biggest complaints I have of a figure that should have been included. Him and Quicksilver and Agent Coulson, I think, all should have been included in this set. But also had Happy Hogan. 4 figures that should have been included in this. Next figure we have is the Shield Agent. This is just our normal one. And honestly, I think one of these probably should have been Crossbones. But same design for everything. No backhead printing, but yeah, so just a simple Shield Agent. Looks cool, and the only thing different about him is the head print. And I think one of them should have been Crossbones. Just because he is a more important character in the MCU than just 2 random Shield agents, and it could have just been a normal, like, bearded face of a white guy, because obviously that's who the actor is. Next, there is Kevin Feige, and yeah, honestly, this figure should have been Stan Lee, and I do have my Firestar Toys Stan Lee, which I will be putting in it. But the figure isn't bad. There's a cool Avengers hat, which is exclusive to this and a gift with purchase to the set. I think his shirt and his head are also exclusive. So yeah, see, well, it's really cool. And I think that Stan Lee should have been a figure in this. And you know what? I have the Firestar Toys figure right next to me, so I will include him with the minifigure count. But yeah, honestly, remember, this is not a official Stan Lee minifigure, but it is made out of all official Lego parts. That is the torso to the character Aldrich Killian from Iron Man 3. The head is from Firestar Toys, and the white hair I got from a Magneto I have. But there are other sets you could get it from. That's just the one I can think of off the top of my head. And him just being such an iconic part of Marvel, really get to own him. I do have a Firestar Toys code, so if you do want to get this, you can use that code to get 10% off, and I will be getting the same amount of points that you get from that purchase. It is not a sponsorship, but I'll make sure to include that code within the description and in a pinned comment, just to make sure that if you want to own a Stan Lee minifigure, or you get the headpiece, which is all they sell, you will have to buy everything else on your own. Up next, we have the female Shield Agent, and, well, just thinking of how, in context, these are also Hydra agents, it is just kind of funny where you think of how, you know, Hydra are Nazis, and it's really funny how they decided to do the opposite of that. People who would be supportive of Nazis. But again, same design, and I think they look nice. And I think it's just more of a, in terms of funny irony, that they chose people that weren't, you know, because they, you know, technically aren't Nazis, but, you know, they basically are. Like, they said in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that, yeah, well, technically not. Yeah, they're just full Nazis. Then we have Dr. Cho. She is a syringe. I think the torso is unique to her. The head most likely isn't. But so I think the figure looks... Okay, yeah, but yeah, going back to her. Nice figure, and it's cool to have, since really there would be no other reason to have her in a set. And I have no idea why this is not staying together for the figure staying on specifically, because Yeah, it's a 3D printed brick, but these pieces never touched it, that 3D printed part. Next, we have Eric Selvig, played by the incredible Stellan Skarsgård, who seriously deserved an Emmy for his performance in Andor. But that's a different thing, and hopefully we could get another Luthen minifigure since his head is still in production. And considering just how well the set sells, I think that we could have this head available for a while. So hopefully next year or the year after we can get more Luthen minifigures, and hopefully I can figure out how to open the stupid laptop because it is not opening for me. But yeah, honestly, this laptop piece, it looks cool, but kind of hard to open. And a little awkward to put in the character's hands, but once you do, it is overall nice. If you're wondering why Captain America is back here, that's because there are two. One to represent him from the Avengers, and the other to represent him from Endgame, when he time travels. And yeah, so I mean, it's a cool figure. The really nice thing is that if you take a look at the head print on him, it does match the head print they gave to the Captain America minifigure, so that at least does match it up. If we take a quick look at it, you can take a look at the front. Both of the exact same smile, and then the exact same kind of angry expression. But we'll take a look more at him in just a moment. But yeah, that's just interesting to look at because this is, I don't know which one's supposed to be which, one's supposed to be time travel and which one's not. I don't remember the scene from Endgame off the top of my head, besides, the very, very common about America's butt in that. But yeah, honestly, going through that, that's all the independent minifigures besides one being the Hulk, but I'm going to save him to look at when I get to the main 6 Avengers. Now I can move this forward, and we can take a look at the next set of minifigures. And first we have Vision, and this is a Vision unique to this set. As the Mind Stone's head has really cool legs, which are transparent, that leads up to a solid color. And this would represent him phasing. There's also some transparent parts of his cape. This is not a cloth cape, it is a plastic one, and actually is included in the same piece as the Wasp's wings. And if you're wondering why she's in here, I'll talk about that when I get to that figure. At least my suspected reason. And looking at the backside, looks pretty cool. Again, the phasing thing looks really nice, and I think that he's just an incredible looking figure, one of the best ones of this set. And yeah, so it's really cool to have him. He also has this clear piece to kind of help him fly around, represent him flying. You're supposed to have it on him when you build him, so that's why I sort of show him off with it. And as you would have seen in that original, the opening, that you could attach it to different pieces to make it look like he is flying. Up next we have Ultron Mark 1. And I would have loved them also to include some Iron Legion figures, although I do have 2 of those battle packs placed on back order, because I really do want to have at least some Iron Legion to go with him. And really cool detailed figure. Bunch of printing around him to represent all the destruction on him. And yeah, honestly, it's just a really cool version to have. Look nice in the scene of the party room, and also have him fighting other characters. But yeah, honestly, really cool figure. Honestly, I like the detail in him. Kind of wish if they had a blue version of the helmet to go around him, would make him look just a little cooler. But still looks nice. Up next, we have War Machine. And all the characters back here are ones that have flying abilities, so you can see them just a little better. War Machine has his really just simple contraption for the machine gun he has on him. They've been using this since Iron Man 3. And depending on the set, it would either be a clip with this or whatever version of the stud shooter that's currently available is, depending on the set. But so it looks really nice, has really good detail, flips up to have this generic head print. I'll probably switch it out for, I think, the one from the Endgame set that I have, to have the most detailed versions of it, although they haven't printed that head for a while, so I guess that understands why they didn't do it, but still, would love to use those better versions of head prints. Maybe even use that War Machine, because I'm using the War Machine from one of those sets from the Avengers game that has like a missile launcher and a bunch of stuff, and then the helmet from the Endgame version. But yeah, so just going on to the next one. We have Iron Man's Mark 7 or 8. I don't remember the suit numbers, but this is the one from the Avengers. And the primary one from the Avengers from the Battle of New York. But yeah, honestly, it looks really cool. I do like the older Iron Man helmet design more, but this one is fine. Looks cool. You have Tony Stark's head on one side with a heads-up display. The other one doesn't. And then has this really simple design that they've used since the Avengers in 2012 to represent Iron Man flying. One problem with these is when he's on these little one-by-one things is they kind of stick to it. A cool, unique figure to this one is this one's either Mark 6 or Mark 7, but this one is battle damaged from the helicarrier. This is what he flies into Avengers Tower with at the beginning, well, just before the Battle of New York, and you have to have it disassembled because of how much damage it has. It does not have anyone on the inside, and I do wish they gave you an extra blue head to one of the other Iron Man suit. So honestly, it looks really cool. I do like the battle damage functions to it. And going around it, yeah, see, it's a nice suit, no battle damage at the back. But still looks pretty nice. I think a new version of this came out. It was this year or last year. I don't remember which set it was in. I think it was this year's Hall of Armor set, actually, when I just started to think of it. But yeah, see, it's really cool to have that, and I think it looks nice. Up next, we have Scarlet Witch. And it's nice to have one with a cloth piece for her legs. She also actually has red eyes on this, and I don't know, if they do a Supergirl set next year, I feel like they could use this head for her to represent her heat vision. But I like the skirt they give her. And she has a kind of a normal expression on one side. Other side, yeah, definitely looks more angry. And finally, she has just these little one tiles to represent her magic. Now going here, we have the Wasp, and the first thing, why would they include her? But it would include all 6 of the original Avengers from the comics, and that is Iron Man, or actually original 5 Avengers from the comics. That is Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Those are the founding Avengers from the comics. And she includes this hairpiece where you could put it on both sides of her head, where she has those 2 expressions. She has the wings to give her the ability to fly, and I did forget for the Tony Stark in his shield guard outfit. He does have a hairpiece to have him be unmasked. So you could have him looking around without the helmet on. But honestly, looks pretty cool, and is a nice inclusion to have, especially since she hasn't been in any other sets. So currently this is the only way to get this version of the Wasp, and the only way to get her and a helmet with this printing on it. Because I think they used a different one for Ant-Man and the Wasp when that came out in 2018, I think. Up next, we have Nick Fury. This is the same one that's been in a bunch of different sets. He has his shield jacket on. He has a gun and a walkie-talkie. Nice to have him because he's such an important character. But again, would love to see Agent Coulson return in this. Don't have an Agent Coulson figure, although I do own Lola, and I made a pretty easy custom one. Next, we have Wong. And don't remember which version this is. Not sure if this is the one that was in the Sanctum or a different one, but I never preferred Doctor Strange. But still, cool inclusion, and it's a nice figure. Alternate piece he has is a hot dog, and it looks good with him, but I'll just be keeping the hot dog out of his hand so he could be making his portals, and I could keep him on the Doctor Strange portal, which I just remembered I never took off the backside of the building. This is going to show his built the tower off with none of the add-ons. Just a good note for me when I move over to that. Next we have Alexander Pierce. He is the head of Hydra, and it's cool to have both a Winter Soldier figure, but also this is based off specifically the scene in Endgame where the Avengers are trying to take a Tesseract away and Pierce tries to stop them, and they don't succeed until Hulk, angry about Stairs, bursts through and knocks the Tesseract out of Toby's hands. But yeah, cool to have him, and he is one of the two only named villains in this set. Actually, sorry, three. Ultron's back there. Rest of them are just henchmen, but up next we have Loki. This is the same Loki that came in a bunch of other sets. I do already own at least one or two versions of this one, but smile on one side, he has the mouthpiece on the other side to keep him locked up. He also includes a hairpiece to give both options, have him with his hair out, and then on the back, simple but good printing. Although I do prefer this horn piece thing, it looks a lot cooler on him. I do think it would have been cool if they modified it to have his hair coming out of the bottom. Maybe we could do that for like the Marvel minifigure series, but I said that they didn't. But next we have Pepper Potts, and yeah, so I think it's a decent figure. She's one of the only ones that has a sticker piece and this little tile, and there's a phone call, which most likely is to Coulson, and then a picture of a burger. Up next we have Falcon, who's another figure to use sticker pieces, and that is a lot of them, where all these sticker pieces make up his wings. And yeah, you can see there's a band printed on the back of his head going to the front. He has two pistols and a really detailed looking figure. Really nice, although I think they use this exact same figure in the Civil War airport battle set from, I think it was earlier this year or last year, I can't remember which. Now moving to the main 6 Avengers from the MCU. We'll start off with Hawkeye. One of the better versions of Hawkeye, although probably the best would be the Minifigures series version from 2 years ago. And looks really nice. Wish that they would have kept that head print in use because that captures him a lot better. But still, nice figure to have, and cool to have him in here. I think this is the only one that has a version of him from the Avengers. And that's another really disappointing thing. Up next we have Black Widow. And she's in a bunch of sets. Which they could have found a way to put this shield arm printing onto the shield agents. Although, oh yeah, they do have blue torsos, but at least Nick Fury, even though he had his Black Widow stingers on it, still would have looked nice on him. Turning your head around. Pretty similar hat, I think the exact same one they've used for a while. And yeah, honestly, really cool figure. I'm going to Hulk. This is one of the first ones of this new type of big fig. I think this is the first time we got Hulk as that. He has a turnable head and a separate hairpiece. And then the rest of him is just the same typical big fig build. Although if you really wanted to, you can pop the head off and attach a normal minifigure head to him there. And yeah, honestly, cool figure and overall nice inclusion. Now moving to our main 3 Avengers. We have Captain America. And I did show him off earlier. This is costume from the Avengers. He has his shield and a smile and expression. Again, exact same one as him with his mask on, just without the blue printing around him. And then, for the fun of it, if you want to see what he looks like, just with the helmet on without the blue under it, still think it looks good. Oh, the blue under just makes it look just a little better. And yeah, honestly, really nice figure overall. Then we have Thor. And really nice figure, although in a little bit of laziness, they did give him the head like this where he has the lightning eyes when he really doesn't have that in any of the movies before Ragnarok. But still looks cool and is an overall nice inclusion, and I think this hairpiece fits him a lot better than the original hairpiece they used. Finally, the heart of the MCU, we have Tony Stark. And I don't know why I thought I talked about this one already, because there was so many other versions. But he has same head print as the other ones. Simple torso thing, and then he has this piece to actually attach to one of the builds. And speaking of that, I will be moving over to the smaller builds of this. And taking the figures off. Sorry, it takes a second to do this. Yeah, after you take the figures off, we take a look at the first of our sub builds. And I will be moving that all to the side after I look at these sub builds. Just to look at the tower itself. But we attach this here, and this is to represent Iron Man falling down, and the Mark 6 or 7 again, I don't remember which one it is, or maybe 8. It's one of those, but it's going down to catch him and envelop around him. It has to be the 7 or 8 because I know he at least goes up to Mark 6 in Iron Man 3, Iron Man 2. And then you attach this to any of the, I don't know if you can see any here, any of the Technic pins that pop out of the set to have him representing him falling down, although I do wish there was one around here to kind of have it look like he was falling out of this window, which would have been cool to have. all this is supposed to be where the Hulk holds onto it. But yeah, see, cool design. I think it matches up pretty well with the suit. If you take a look at it, it is supposed to be it kind of folded up. So yeah, honestly, it's a overall nice looking nice looking addition, and it's pretty cool to have as an add-on. Oh, it does make sense also where it was placed where he could have been thrown off the balcony and it's going to catch him. Going around to the backside to grab that one thing I forgot about pulling off. We have one of the sling ring portals, and this is supposed to have you take Wong and place it on there, and he's supposed to be opening up a portal for him to come through. And there are two ways to do it. You can really orient it any way you want, but in terms of how it's shown up in the instruction manual, he is supposed to be popping in upside down, but you can either do it sideways, right side up, or other sideways. Coming through our last two small ones, or smaller small ones, we have the smaller Chitauri Chariot. This is the exact same build, just it doesn't have something attached to the back. And you grab one of the unarmed Chitauri and you can place them on it for them to ride. And then you just grab one of these, and depending on how you want to attach them, you either stick it in here, here, or you can attach it this way. Any of those ways will work to go and attach it to Avengers Tower. And again, I'll show off how you attach those later. And then finally, of the most mini ones, you have this one. And this is the exact same front design, just with the backside of Loki having the ability to sit here and or stand there really and fly on it. And then you can grab the fourth Chitauri and put him on here. Well, you attach this is attach it to one of these here. Let's see if you can see it. Specifically, you have to attach it to this and this. If you see that, and you attach one of them on here and the other one here. So one's like that, and the other is like that. I'll show off a little more clearly later on in the video. You also would have seen it in the intro. But that's the best way to go and attach them to the Avengers Tower, and really the only spot built into it. You can probably also attach it directly on the side, but no matter what you do, this set just can't be put next to Daily Bugle because of the way to display this chariot. And then on the other side, you can't do that because the landing pad will be hitting directly into the side of the Daily Bugle sign. The final of the smaller builds is this Leviathan. It is smaller than the one that comes in the set that I reviewed a few months ago, but still looks pretty cool. It attaches to this unique piece that holds it in the air. I do hope this comes in other sets because it'd be really cool to have. Also would look nice on some of my snow speeders in the Battle of Hoth I have set up. And it's a fully turnable body. You can pose it around, and there's space to put one figure at the top. Yeah, honestly, looks pretty cool. Up next, there is this little build to have Thor throwing Mjolnir. And You do need his hammer to do this. You attach the lightning popping out whichever way you want, but you do have to attach it to this piece and then have him throwing it, or use it to have him be flying. But honestly, yeah, it looks pretty cool. There's also a small thing to attach to it to make it look like he's jumping with it. But yeah, so it looks pretty cool, and there's just a bunch of these clear pieces you could use to have characters going and flying around and attach to different points. I do have a bunch of these that I bought at a Lego store for a pick brick thing, and I could use that to also have them flying around the tower. Yeah, so it looks all really nice, and now I can move on to the main tower. Okay, now moving on to the lowest level of Avengers Tower. I actually want to look at one thing before taking a look at fully at the bottom, and that is the window that you can remove. This was not too much of a pain to build. It's repeating the same steps, I think it was 7 times, and then the 8th time, and there's an 8th window which is built similarly but just slightly different since that's the end point. But you take this window, you pull it out and then down to remove it to be able to access the interior, or I'm putting it in, you push it up and then in until it is about flush with the building. Sometimes it won't be perfect, but you just mess around with it until it's on there. And this is relatively simple way to be able to access the interior, because this building is not easy to move, which is why it's a little darker if you notice. I'm recording this because I will be getting my eyes dilated tomorrow morning, and this is Wednesday night, so do not feel like moving this massive thing around with blurry vision. Yeah, looking at it, really simple build. The curve out looks really nice, and overall it's just a really cool design for this. I will be putting that to the side so you can see the full look at the interior. Oh, actually, there's one small build I forgot to take a look at, which I had resting on top. I will move that down, and I will be looking at this also. I totally forgot about it because this I left this resting where it belongs on the top of the hanger. But this is our mini Quinjet. I think it captures it okay. It's a little fragile build. You could very easily knock this piece off because it's held in so loosely. Also has its landing gear here. A small little repulsor lift engine down here, and then its engines at the back. You can pop this off and put one minifigure in there. It has guns, and then also small storage rack for reloads for the stud shooters on this, which are here. You can push it down and easily fire. But yeah, see, it looks cool. Really cool to have a shield Quinjet in there. And now that I moved that off, we actually take a look at our lowest level of the Avengers Tower. This is ground level, and starting off there's a lamppost, really nice sticker that has Battle of New York Memorial with the names of the original 6 Avengers on there. This was seen on Hawkeye at just outside, I think, Grand Central, which is just below Avengers Tower. So, and since it's outside of Grand Central Station, really can't have another build for that without pushing this up like probably $300 to $400. And it also be kind of scummy to people who want to build on Grand Central Station itself to have it be locked to Avengers Tower. and I don't think not everyone wants to have it, but there's also these little like road blockades to prevent cars from driving in, a small fire hydrant, a trash can that has a pack of bubble gum in it. This is probably from like a Lego City brand. And then this bench over here, I think. It does have a piece of bubble gum, it just got stuck to the bottom of the bench. That's hidden under it. There's another bench here. And then I'm going to move it this way to show off the interior here last. If you take a look at this, these are all the Technic pins I was talking about. And these two, which are almost parallel, well, technically these two, but these are way too close to the ground to have kind of be a believable flying height. If you take them, I go back here and we're going to put these all to the side. Give me one moment. And you grab these and Loki's chariot. You just slide them into this. This shows off kind of how you're able to display figures and stuff on this. And this is at the perfect width. You can also do it this way, although this is the front of the building, so you want to be showing it off on that side. And then, as I said, you can easily attach here. Well, easily, unless you're doing it on camera. And it is better to do it like this because you want to make sure you get the pieces in a spot where they are able to be attached correctly. Probably also drop the figures off just to make sure you can get it on right. Again, this is kind of a pain to do, especially when you're doing it behind a camera and you aren't able to get that close of an angle up on it. Should be that. Don't know why you can't get this right now. Get this pretty easily when I built it. Oh, that's why. This, I'm doing it wrong. You're supposed to slide this into here. And this on here to have it positioned correctly. But if you do that, and I'm thinking correctly, you could actually have Loki going and flying on the, as the Chitauri pulls him forward. And then, just more out of curiosity, I want to see how you can attach it on this side to have a little more of it being straight on. Yeah. Kind of annoying to do that. I probably want to use different pieces for that. And you can also take these. Should be able to more easily attach these. I'll probably slide these in. And then attach here. And Don't know why it's not attaching. You attach it like that to have it flying kind of straight on. All that will take 2 of these pieces, and if you don't have a bunch of these like I do, it's not worth setting it up like that. That's just more of a curiosity experiment to see the best way to set it, have it kind of flying straight on, because it is kind of an awkward angle the way you place it. Although it does look cooler for it to be turning a corner, which is the way I will be displaying it, but that was just more of a as a curiosity test. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention on this piece also, all of these little things on this side going out, and you're supposed to attach Iron Man falling down through that. But yeah, honestly, nice way to show it off. And again, if you go to higher levels, it is not a straight path, so it would be far more awkward of an angle, and you have to be messing around with that a lot more. But it's still technically possible. Finally, moving to the back side, we have a poster for the Rogers Museum exhibit. Then it's an exit only sign. You can't open this up to enter into Avengers Tower, or more accurately, exit. There is this trash can. You can pop it off. I tossed some of the extra pieces in here of food pieces. And I think it's supposed to be shawarma. There is a shawarma in the wrapper. A can of Pym particles. And then this kind of carrot stock. And then I was tossed a cookie in. These 2 pieces specifically are not supposed to be in there, but I like tossing in the trash can these extra pieces to be able to show them off better. Or not really show them off better, but have them be incorporated into the build. And yeah, then you can finally just push the stud back in and go to there. Now moving on to the lobby level. Bunch of stuff in here, and I want to lower this a little to look at that and zoom in. Good thing about this is everything can be removed to get a better look at it. You can see a pretty good look at these chairs here. Back here we have a Pym soda machine. And, well, I've never seen this in the MCU. It's probably at some Disney park. And it's a cool design, although Pym having a vending machine in Avengers Tower doesn't make as much sense, since really hates Tony Stark, and their company is a rival company. And the Avengers are run by Tony Stark, and it doesn't seem like Pym had the best impression of them. There's also this desk. It has a small computer built into it, and area to put stuff. It is supposed to be built around these 2 pieces, which are supposed to be part of the desk, but are built into the set. No, actually, don't think. Never mind, they are not supposed to be built in the set. Or maybe they are, because, yeah, they kind of are more stuck in there. And then finally, there's this pillar at the back, and it's supposed to be a support pillar. I think it's supposed to be kind of a decorative one. And then over here we have an elevator build. Probably the best view we're going to get of it through the entire thing, because everything else is far more blacked off. But now to move up to floor 2. I'll only be staying on this side because exterior basically the same on all sides. But just a quick look, there's this little area you can attach the Hulk to, where he's slamming a Chitauri into the building. With love of this stuff. Could stop being knocked off, but I guess it's fine. Backside, just more of these little pillars. Give us a little better look at Jarvis battling Ultron. Over here there's this. Oh, and a small detail I forgot. On the floor, in this back corner, we have the pager Nick Fury uses to call Captain Marvel. And then, yeah, this I don't think we can move back to this floor and take a look. Well, there's a few different rooms put together. The first is, I'm going to go down a little more just so you can see a little better. Kind of hard to get a good angle on some of this stuff, especially this room because there's stuff blocking it off. You can see back here is the elevator. There's also this bridge, which not too hard to slide out. And that'll give you just a better look at the interior of the room because it's kind of tough to see back there. But back here you have this medical bed from Age of Ultron, which they do medical research to kind of like regrow skin. This is supposed to be Ultron battling Jarvis. There's vital signs about the character. And then also a small information about the Hulkbuster contingency that's being used against the Hulk. I can't think what it's called in the movie, but there's also Captain America's shield up here on this bridge, the elevator over here, and then I will reattach this bridge, which is where in the Avengers Endgame, Steve fights himself. And again, just accessing this room is a lot more of a pain because of just how far back it goes and the stuff blocking it off. So probably should reattach this first, even though it's going to be a little more painful to attach the other part because this rests on here. So when I do push down, let's throw my pop cap shield off. And could reattach. Oh god. Yeah, this is a massive pain to put back together. But that has been fixed. I can put the extra version of Cap Shield up here. And I really don't like messing around with this floor. It's probably the worst laid out floor of the set because easily this probably could have been split between two floors, especially since two of the floors they took creative liberties with. Although one of them does make more sense than the other to be there. And again, this is a major pain to do, but it is back together. You can also see down here there's some broken glass from where this missing area is. And then also just an area to kind of hold the figure up. And also they included a full build for the cradle used to bring Vision to life. Moving up to our next floor. We'll take a quick look at the exterior. Nothing special on this one. You can see, at least this one, these two are parallel, although if you take a look, this is what I was talking about, where there's a really steep incline. So if you're gonna have Loki up here, you have to keep him going with those pieces I showed off earlier. Exterior, really nothing much, although you can see the beginning of this curve, which is a nice build. And coming back over here, we take the interior for Iron Man's workshop. I'll be swapping a few things out. I'll be putting the printed Iron Man piece in here on that little workbench. You can't actually move this because this is attached to the pillar that's holding up the room. But then you have a build for dummy. Really simple build, but looks cool. There should be... there we go, fire hydrant back there. There's a coffee cup. And then there are drawers here. One of them has a cookie. Well, there are drawers on the floor below, but I am not going back through that. One of them is a medical thing and a syringe. But to go into this, I think was it a cookie? No, that's I got the wrong shelf. And here there was a $100 bill. Oh, that does remind me. On the interior of these different elevators, there are things hidden. There's a $100 bill here. That's kind of hidden away, presumably lost by Tony Stark. And there's the coffee cup on the level above it. Neither of those can be really easily seen. But I think this is supposed to be prototypes of Cap's shield up here. This is information on Loki, information on the Quinjet. Or no, that's Cap's shield, and this is an arc reactor. And then all the way in the back there are two things. One which is blueprints to Ultron, which is one of the later versions of him. And then here we could get an answer to what suit that was. Okay, that is built into the ground. Actually, never mind. This is the rescue armor from Endgame, so no clarification on that. We have the nice level, and does make sense, although technically we've never seen this in a Stark Tower or Avengers Tower. Moving up to final level of the lower levels, we have our final elevator here. Almost impossible to see without me literally ripping a wall out or removing this. But we have a do not enter sign with the Hulk and saying it can't be accessed. Real shame the only one that said have a sticker on is on the tallest level, and honestly I think I may move that down to another level where it can be seen a lot better. Like I've seen people do that before. Then there is so what this is supposed to be, but it's about who is Iron Man. At the back there is this little bucket, and also built for Arnim Zola. And then finally there is this cell, which is supposed to be the cell that Loki was held in the Avengers. Although that's technically made for to also contain the Hulk, and I mean, I can almost guarantee you can't fit the Hulk big in there. And close the cell because you can't even fit him in normally. So yeah, that's a big uh-oh for that. But still, it looks cool. You can see the end of that curve heading up to the window piece over there. You can see the Technic structure at the back that holds up the the helipad. Essentially, I don't know technically what to call it. At the ground, there's some different blue colors for that. And you can see as the color kind of fully cuts off and the blue windows go around. And yeah, that finishes this level up. Now, move up to our final levels. We have the top. And if you look here, there is the helipad, as I said. You can take the Quinjet, easily just fold up the wings, and have it land like this. There is a small thing back here to catch it, but you can easily push it past and have it fly all the way in. And this top level, definitely more difficult to look at because there's just a lot more up here. I'm looking on the outside first because I'm going to have to remove the roof to show off the inside more. Here we have the Avengers A. And you can see it better there without the glare. Move around to the backside, you see this little area. And these pillars are kind of supposed to be support pillars to the building leading up to here. Well, these are all exterior pieces, not actually supporting any weight on the build besides anything you attach to them. And you can see sort of the interior of the inside. Finally, moving it around, you can see the A on this side, and there's a bird perched there, and that goes back around to here. And it's really, really hard to see on the inside of it. So I'm going to move this around again. You can easily fold this piece off. Go a little higher up. And angled in. You can see this interior a lot better. This is supposed to be the party scene from Age of Ultron. There is couches on both sides. An article about the Battle of New York from the New York Bulletin, which is from Daredevil, I think. Don't know if it appeared anywhere besides that, but I do know I saw major appearances of it in Daredevil, and I have a few other articles that could go with it. You have Thor's hammer here for them to try to lift. Kind of like a martini glass. And back here, a small bar for them to drink at. And then a small little potted plant. And yeah, so it looks pretty nice. Okay, now moving to this top level. Yeah, kind of cut off and had to take time to wait. But you can remove this to reveal the next part of the level. It's a little oddly built because it's all put on these like bendable tubes. So you can easily move around and kind of mess it up. But once it's in place, it's pretty secure. Up here you have a few different things. You have a few boxes of tools and also a copy of Avengers #1. This is the first comic that the Avengers starred in, so that is pretty interesting and overall pretty cool. It's kind of hard to see here, but if you look down, you can see there's the imprint of Loki being smashed by the Hulk, and I think it's some kind of maybe Doctor Strange thing that has, I don't know, it's probably not a pregnancy test, but that's the first thing I could think of. especially since they probably won't have reference to that in a Lego set. And then this small box. And finally moving up to... Okay, now moving up to the tallest level, and hopefully this doesn't... When I try to move it up, try and activate the power off function to my phone. Which is why it's probably kind of an awkward cut there. You could look up here. Can't really see with the lights, but you can move this up. And there's a small area for Tony to be researching onto Loki's scepter. Bunch of little pieces around here, and a small little satellite dish. And Loki's scepter's here, and there's a keyboard and some other information. Finally, on top, really hard to see, but you have the... Okay, and finally at the top level, you have this little thing up here to let planes know that there's a skyscraper here. Another little thing, and then we have the device that was used to power the portal from the Avengers. Turn this around, you can see a bunch of different pieces used to put it together, but ultimately looks pretty decent, even though it's a very small design. And yeah, honestly, it all looks pretty cool. One back here. Let's take a look at this. The glass piece that holds this in is cool that you get a good view in there. It would be cool if there was also like a door to lead from the Quinjet hangar into the kind of main room of Avengers Tower. Ooh, never had that issue before. But easy enough to correct. As you can see, sometimes this will pop off. It could be easily enough connected. And just move it back down. Oh, you could look pretty much straight on with the tower. Another thing that could be easily popped off is the landing platform here. We could very easily knock these off. And now being able to go back down. Could go here, zoom out again, and also one more time. What this looks like when you slide it in, then you put it in at an angle, slide it in, and attach it. And then I can show again how to attach one of these. You can slide Iron Man in and have him falling as his suit is flying to him. But yeah, honestly, it's a really cool set. I honestly think it looks really nice. And you'll see some different lighting between this and the next shot, because it's currently past midnight now, and I do not be moving all stuff around to have a size comparison for this and Barad-Dûr, but yeah, I did get a majority of this done, so I'm glad on that. Really cool set to have, and honestly, I really like the look of it. Okay, and if you take a look here, I have the Avengers Tower next to Barad-Dûr. And together, honestly, they look, it's pretty cool. They are about the same height. if you exclude the stuff that's placed on top of Avengers Tower, it's about maybe like 3 or 4 studs difference in height. If you're to take a top here and put it across to about there on Barad-Dûr, it's approximately the same height. And just for the fun of it, I'm going to pan down and show them next to each other. Because I do not have enough room to go and have these fully in frame, but this is a look at fully the buildings you have. And then lowering it down again. This is them at approximate street level. And they all look pretty cool together. I'll also be showing this off next to the Daily Bugle, but that'll be a different spot because I didn't feel like moving the Daily Bugle or a Barad-Dûr around too much, since they're both modular buildings and take a lot more time to disassemble and reassemble. Not too much more time, but don't have an insane amount of time to have finished recording this before I have to start editing, because that'll also take a while. So I'll move over to that. And if you take a look here, you can see the Bugle and Avengers Tower look pretty nice next to each other, although there is no room to attach the Chitauri Chariot if you do have it like this. If you do take one of the road plates and place it in the middle from the Lego City sets, you do get some more room, but still there isn't an overall insane amount of space in between them. And this is the only practical way to do it, because I'll need to move this forward for this. If you take this, and I'm just going to turn the Avengers Tower around to show this, because I do not feel like moving this around while it's on there. If you take a look, it can't get anywhere close if it's facing the other way because of the landing deck or whatever it's called, the helipad, because that goes straight into the Daily Bugle. And it is completely impossible to have it the other way. So while it would look pretty cool, and it does have a thing built in for you to correct the mistake made on the other set, where they had the little yellow piece down there. Let me actually zoom out, but that little yellow piece down there, kind of by Sandman, it's blacked off I am, but that was placed a piece out, so they do have the option to correct that, although it is completely impossible based on how the sets are built. But if you really want to, it's about this far apart when you separate it by one of those road plates. I think I have one to the side over here. I don't remember where I placed it. I moved it to the side when I was moving this all around. I see it. Just one moment. But you can take at least one, probably two of these. I have to find where my other ones are. And you can place it basically directly in the middle. And you can use that to have a road between the two. And then also, if you wanted to, you could probably extend it out by like 2 studs and have it be able to attach the little studs that are built into the sides of the building. I realize you can't actually see that too well without me pulling back a little. But yeah, honestly, overall it looks pretty nice. It's a pretty cool set. One thing I did notice, I almost forgot to mention when I was building up here, is if you want to access the interior over here for the party room, it is extremely hard to do unless you pull this part out. Technically, it's not supposed to be, but you can remove that because if you take a look, I have to try and fit my hand in, and even when I'm close to it, it's really hard to be able to fit stuff in. But if I go and pull this out, far easier time being able to fit figures in there. So if you ever do get this, that's something I do recommend. Even though, yeah, you have to pull the set partially apart a little bit, it is far, far easier and far less catastrophic. As you can see, when I did it, I just kind of just slide that back in and then push it down. Then when I did it on that lower level with that bridge, which, as you told in that earlier in the video, did not wind up super well. But yeah, honestly, that's really all I have to say about the set. Looks cool next to other tall buildings, and even though it can't perfectly fit by the Bugle, when I eventually do get the Arkham Asylum, maybe I'll have that in the middle of them to kind of connect them. Oh, that will kind of hide Arkham, so not fully sure how I'll connect that. But yeah, honestly, overall, it looks just really nice. And it's always more difficult to do this when you're have a pretty far distance away from this. So I'll probably just do that when I'm off camera. Yeah, I can't do it from this angle. But yeah, honestly, looks overall really nice. It's just a really cool set to have, and I'm really glad I added it to my collection. And finally, just for the fun, I decided to show off how I decided to set all this up. Just throwing so many of these different Marvel characters. Also found some road plates to have a large wide road in between. The road plates themselves don't really work super well to attach to these because of the way they're spread out. But yeah, honestly, overall, it just looks really cool to have them together. Going to the top, you can see even more detail, and just to see how well they can go together. And yeah, you can just toss so many different Marvel characters together. Looks really cool, and I will have to find somewhere else to move this after I get Arkham, because there is no way I can fit this all on this small bookshelf, because this is already at the full extent of it. But yeah, honestly, overall it looks pretty cool, and it's just nice to have all of this together. Made a cool look, and I'll be tossing some more stuff in there to find my Sentinel and some other stuff. But yeah, I just wanted to show this off for now, and I want to know what you think. Please leave me in the comments, and I'll see you next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.